Let me just clear it up for you right now. Yes, Islin is the budget Krisk option you've been looking for. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing this morning? I am very excited to be sharing this video with you. I said yesterday in my Thanksgiving video that Islin was my favorite champion I was looking forward to working with, and that has definitely proven to be true. I have been working with him in a number of different teams, and I think I found the best version that I am very happy with. I think you can easily replicate this team. I'm going to give you some options to replace champions, and we're going to see him in action today. So, jumping right in here, I think that Islin is the budget Krisk that you've been looking for. A lot of people did this fusion or pulled him. I think he looks super cool, and I've been really pleased with the direction of High Elves in 2023. What do we like about him? Okay, number one, he's going to protect your team better than any other champion other than Krisk. I know that that's a bold claim. I guess Terrace should be in that conversation as well, but man, he does a great job of it. You can see here that I have filtered the ally protection champions. There are a bunch of them, but none of them really come close to Krisk. They really do not. Krisk has the decreased speed on the A1. That's an AoE. He has the ally protection, continuous heal, and increases the duration of all ally buffs. And that increase the duration part is what everyone else is missing, along with his passive. Okay, no one can match those two parts about his kit. And then the consistency of the increased speed and the provoke on the 3-turn cooldown, and the increased defense on himself. It's just obviously we know Krisk is an amazing champion. I would still argue that he's in the top 3 best champions in the game. Still, previous to this conversation, at different points in time, he's been number 1. He's been number 1 a lot. The number 1 champion in the game, Krisk. I'm blessed to have 2. The first one I won from the Krisk tournament, and then I ended up pulling my second one a week or 2 later. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. The next time I pulled Void Shards, I pulled a second one. I hope you're blessed enough to have one as well. But with most accounts, you're not going to have him. Okay, so you're going to need to use somebody like Islin. I guess a third place I do want to mention is Snicktrack. I've never really found a good fit for him, but I think he would fit in this team. So if you're just watching this video for entertainment purposes and you're like, well, I don't have Krisk or Islin, then really any ally protection champion can work here. Snicktrack, Eric's, who else do I like? Korgar. I think Truath could be really cool. And I want to say that there was one other one that I wanted to mention. Taragi. Okay. I like Taragi's combination of abilities pretty well for Hydra and every game mode. Obviously, he's amazing. A lot of people use Nia, but they tend to not use her ally protection ability. They tend to focus on her decreased cooldown ability. So anyway, there are a lot of options. Let me know what you think about this bold claim that Islin is the best Krisk replacement. Okay? Now, let's take a look at how I would build him, all right? I don't think that most people can build him in a specific gear set, okay? And I think that what you need to do is something similar to what I've done here and do mostly broken sets, okay? Now, I have managed, because I have a stone skin ring, I managed to get a 2-piece stone skin set. I think that that is an incredibly powerful thing to do. We have a resistance set as well that I think would benefit from being the new Righteous set if I had the right pieces. And then I put Retaliation on him, okay? Now, that is good. It's very good, but it didn't work out like how I would hope, okay? Whenever you are using him, in my opinion, you need to just forget that his A1 has Provoke. Because if you're using him to provoke the head that can be provoked, then you're going to be disappointed, okay? Does it work out once in a while? Sure. But you should not rely on this, okay? Now, what you can rely on is having decreased speed up for basically the whole fight. This ability is outstanding. His A3 is also... Wait, let me back up, okay? He has a 100% chance to decrease the duration of all enemy buffs. So what oftentimes happens is, like, if you're not increasing the duration of these buffs, he's not your mischief target 100% of the time. When this is all up, the ally protection, increased defense, counterattack, shield, this ability is so good. When this is up, he's going to be your mischief target. Period. End of story. I mean, like, in almost every team, and that's why you want to build him with resistance. When this ability is not up, because he doesn't have the increased buff duration, then this ability is going to decrease the duration of the buffs that were stolen. And that is a great combination of abilities. It fits really, really well together. His passive is great as well. Whenever he's attacked, he heals himself. He heals all allies under ally protection, placed by the skill by 30% of the skill's initial heal. So the more defense you can put on him, the better. Did I succeed in that goal? I mean, yeah, okay, it's reasonable, 5.5. I also think that him going as fast as possible is great. And I think that if we could figure out a way to put him in a team with other champions that increase the buff duration, that would also be great. Like, for example, if I put him in my Turvold team, let me show you that. So if I put him in my Turvold team here in place of Krisk, then we would have tons of buffs up the whole time. We'd be extending the duration of those buffs. But then the problem is, in that team, Krisk is one of the ways that we increase the duration of the buffs. So anyway, I don't like that part is missing from his kit, but I think he would pair really well with Mikage, for example. We're not doing any of that today, okay? I've been doing a lot of buff extension teams, and so I didn't do that with him, but I think he would fit really well with that. Today we're going to talk about a completely different team with him, so let's take a look at that team, and that is going to feature some sweet champions in here. Okay, now we did use all legendaries for once. Normally I'm trying to find some like budget options, but like at this point in time in the game, if you've been playing for over a year and you're like, I want to make the most damage I can in Hydra, you probably have teams of all legendaries also, okay? Now, I'm going to give you some budget recommendations here, but a lot of these are reasonable champions to assume people would have, okay? Tatora, Uko, everybody can get Mithrala and Gomlock. Obviously, not everyone has Gomlock, but also, he's not that great. Okay, he was super fun and super cool to use in this video, but also he's not really that necessary. Okay, so here we have this Islin in here, and then my damage dealer in here is Razzlevarg, right? And I think that Razzlevarg is one of the best damage dealers for Hydra. Like, period. Like I don't think people realize how good he is. Razzlevarg is one of the best damage dealers for Hydra. There's no caveat to that. He's just in the discussion for a top tier damage dealer. And if you're not using him, you really should be. Because not only does he have a triple hitter on his A1, okay, that's fine. His damage is based on attack and speed, which is weird, but fine. He also places Leech, which is maybe the most underestimated, the most underrated debuff in Hydra. If you were coming out to the live streams that we've been doing, we did a ridiculous 200 million team for Brutal the other day on the live stream. Go watch that back. It's posted here on YouTube. I've been double streaming on YouTube and Twitch, so just come hang out. Anyway, he's going to extra boosted heal himself on this ability, and he has increased speed and increased accuracy on everyone. So if you're a little low on accuracy, you can get that, okay? His passive, okay? He increases his speed by 100 throughout the course of the fight if you survive long enough. He has a speed in all battles aura, and then all of his attacks are based on attack and speed. So this is a scaling damage champion akin to Varl or Xena, like those types of champions that grow with their damage over time. He is the same way, okay? And he just is a very good damage dealer. He's got great multipliers. Anyway, the point is, this can be whoever you want it to be, okay? You can put a Krizia there if you wanted to, or you could put like a budget option like Artak there, or, I mean, a really amazing option would be Nikmo Thar there. He would be insane. I think you'd need to fit in another main damage dealer in that spot, but I think that Razzlevarg is a very cool option. Who else would go really well there? Newt would go really well there. There's so many people that would fit there. So whatever damage dealer you want to put there is fine. Islin does not need to be slow. Like, Krisk typically is the slowest one in your team so that he has the buffs on the longest. Islin, however, you want him going fast. I don't know if I really focused on this in his stats, but 253 speed, I didn't want to get crazy with the builds, okay? I wanted it to be somewhat relatable, but I'm not saying this is an easy build to achieve for a lot of players. Like 250 speed, 5.5k defense, 478 resistance, 294 accuracy. Now, because we have Razzlevarg in the team, we could have cut the accuracy down a bit. Maybe like 50 or 100. So I could have worked a little bit less hard on the build like that. And I also tried not to use like tons of ascended gear on him and stuff. So Islin, obviously you're watching this video, he's an important part of the team. You're going to need a decreased defense and weakened champion, okay? I recommend most people not using Ugo. But then DeGreer goes and messages me a 400 million team for Nightmare with Ugo in it. And I'm like, well, maybe I should stop saying that. But I think for most people, you should stop using Ugo, or at least consider using somebody else that does decrease defense and weaken, okay? Like Lydia, Draco, all of those people are, you know, Venus, Cecia, all of those people are going to be really, really good in any kind of team like this, okay? Mithrala everybody has, but make sure you hear me on this. If you want more damage in Hydra, put the Hex in there. Put the Hex in there, okay? It is so good. It will just like give you an insane damage boost. And then I think every team needs a Reviver. It's not actually true, but you just want the consistency. So like Molly or Kaja, Elva, these type of champions like Uko, somebody in there to revive so you don't have to restart the run, okay? Like, what's going to end up happening is, you know, you're going to get cleansed, Wrath's going to get buffs up, he's going to kill somebody or your whole team. And just like a Reviver prevents that. I think Arbiter is a great option for a lot of teams, so don't forget about her. Now, the last spot is Tatora. And you're going to see this +2 and be like, oh my goodness. But let's just take a look at his stats for a second. They're not ridiculous. even though he's +2, his gear is still mid, okay? He does have some crit stats, but his defense is very hard to scale. 1432. Like, I don't know. I would, if I was going to seriously use him in some teams, I would try to scale his defense at least 1,000 points higher. You know, just like our dude that's featured here, Islin. I think that Rhymehyde, not Razzlevarg, Rhymehyde does benefit from resistance, and it's not necessary, but it's there. I don't even think the crit stats are necessary, but he does have reasonable multipliers, okay? If I was gonna, like, seriously consider a build with him, I would want him as fast as possible. I would consider him in Savage gear or some kind of damaging gear, and I would really try to focus on getting his defense higher. But he was surprisingly good in this team, I will say. He did really surprise me. He did an okay amount of damage, nothing great. And so if you want to use Inquisitor Shamail there, equally as good. If you put Rector Drath, she would be fine, but your damage would go down. So your two main options for that last spot would be Shamail or Tatora. Either one of those is fine. Let me get an alternate version set up for you guys without, like, Gomlock in there. But if we go and change Gomlock and Razzlevarg and stuff, then we have to resituate the team. So let me do that, and I'll show you that version. All right, so if you want to switch this team up and have just, like, some other options, again, you can put whatever damage dealer you want there, but Newt seems great to boost with Shamail. That would be another option instead of your Tatora. We want to keep our feature presentation Islin in there. Lydia can come in for your Gomlock, and then that way she would have the increased speed instead of Razzlevarg. And then I think an ally attack champion would fit really well. Since we have Lydia in the team, we don't really need someone else to protect us, but like Lonatharl or Mikage, who's hiding behind me here, either of those champions would be great. Mikage would extend his buffs, so that could be really sweet. And then we can leave the Uko in there. Obviously, we do want block buffs. I have my Uko in a provoke set so that he can hit some provokes as well. I have Uko's A3, his revive, turned off in all fights for the most part, so that because he'll just use it on auto. He'll just use it to put the increased speed up, but you already have that from Lydia or Razzlevarg, so you only need the revive when there's someone to revive. Okay, but yeah, that would be another version of this team to go with, so I think this is really customizable for almost every account. If I'm wrong and you don't have any of these champions, let me know, and we could take a peek at your specific roster. One of the best things about Raid is that everyone has an individual roster. Okay, so let's jump into the run. I'm going to show you the first couple things, and then we'll skip ahead to the damage screen. All right, we're back to the original team, so let's jump right in here and tell you all the things you need to know, and then we'll fast forward ahead to the damage screen for reals this time. Okay, so on auto, Mithrala is just going to do her thing very consistently. She's going to put up that Hex. She's going to put up the increased defense, the increased attack, okay? Razzlevarg, he's going to put up the increased accuracy, the increased speed. I would set this guy, I would set his A3 to be the priority here, because otherwise you're going to get buffs stolen. So you want him to be the one that's targeted, okay? And then I like setting the priority on Uko to be that block buffs. And you can see that he has some counterattack shenanigans as well with his Masteries. Now, Gomlock, okay? The thing about Gomlock is he doesn't actually place the decreased defense and weaken every time. He has to be at full HP. I really just think this guy needs a buff. Player him, he needs a buff. You thought he was going to be a Fire Knight champion or an Arena champion. He's nothing right now. No one uses him. They get him and put him in their vault. Okay? You need to buff this ability. Okay? Just make this an AoE steal buffs. AoE. That would be absolutely sweet. And then on his A1, he's going to do Leech and make it be like if he crits, it's an AoE or something. Make all 3 of these AoEs. Like, he needs a buff. All right? But obviously, he's going to prioritize the decreased defense and weaken. Tatora, I'm torn on whether to tell you to not use this. Block debuffs and increase defense. Because there's no attack on it. But I think that, especially when you're facing the poison head over here, if you can't remember the names, just remember what they do. Green is poison. Blue is fear. Yellow is stealing buffs. Red is your team dies. Okay? So, like, you can, like, just use little tricks to remember what they do based on the colors of their Hydra skin, right? So, but I think that the block debuffs is helpful, even though we do have a cleanser in Mithrala here. Now, making Tatura the fastest one in the team would really help with this Perfect Veil. Because then we won't get feared as much, right? But you can see everybody just going to go do their things here. So we have block buffs up. We have the decreased speed AoE 100%. We have the counter attack, and he's going to do a reasonable amount of damage. Gomlock, I mean, all of them are going to do a little bit of damage, okay? There's no real standouts other than Razzlevarg in this team for damage. We're getting a lot of damage from Hex, and the rest of the damage from Razzlevarg, and then everybody else is going to help out, okay? We got a nice little resist there from Uko, surprisingly. But you can see we're on hard Hydra here. Like, I don't want to get crazy. I'm not trying to say that this is going to unlock Nightmare for you, but I actually think that this could go on Brutal. I think maybe you would need a stronger team for Nightmare. But depends on your gear. Your gear really dictates what level of Hydra you can play in. And you can see here, Razzlevarg really doing some damage, okay? I think that because Gomlock steals buffs, I think he should have resistance. I think I should take the damage off of him because he doesn't do very much damage. And we should put on him resistance. Very similar to Islin's build. But you can see, like, this is a resistance-heavy team. Tatura has some resistance. Obviously, Mithrala does. Islin has resistance. So, when they're not targeting Islin, there's a good chance you don't get your buff stolen. And if you get your buff stolen, there's block debuffs. There's ways to remove buffs. And you can see our damage per turn is pretty good. Our goal always with damage in Hydra is to get to 1 million damage per turn on every difficulty. And if you can do that, you're going to be really, really banging. You're going to be really bringing in the damage, okay? The first step is survivability. And I wasn't sure if this team was going to have that factor. But what you're going to see here, at least in my testing, we'll see about this run. In my testing, this has been a very survivable team. Like, we're not making it all the way to the turn limit, but we're making it until the turn limit indicator pops on, which that's step one. Okay, that is step one. So, let me know in the comments below, what questions do you have about this team? I think that all of these champions work really well together. If it were me, I would replace Gomlock with Cecia. I think she would be insanely way better in this team. But I know that Gomlock is cool and I wanted to put him in a video. So that's where we're at. But Cecia would do way more damage. So if I was optimizing this team, I would probably go with Shamail and Cecia instead of Tatura and Gomlock. That would be my preference for optimizing this team. But I've got to say, I was really impressed with this team. As we get screwed by the poison cloud here. Somebody like Tunisia would go really well in this team as well. So she can just place that through the poison cloud. There's so many options in the game now. You just need the ability to figure out what your best teams are. And I think what I'm gonna start doing for like as affordable as I can make it is hopping on people's accounts to recommend them Hydra teams, because I know not everybody has enough money for a takeover. The takeover that we did on the stream the other day was ridiculous. He went from 10 million max damage on hard to 210 million on brutal, and that team can also go on nightmare. So it was just some of my best work. I'm just still shocked by the amount of damage that it was able to do. But anyway, if you're running your teams on auto, make sure you're clicking the heads. Make sure you're paying attention, because if you come in here and get super unlucky and get wiped by Wrath, you can just restart it, right? Especially if you're running it on auto while you're doing other things. But pay attention to what heads are eaten, because then you can click on them and then free them, okay? So, what do you think about this team? Put your damage prediction in the comments below, and let's go ahead and fast forward. I need to remember to show the Masteries, but they're nothing crazy, okay? They're nothing crazy. And I'll try to flip through the builds really quickly on screen to wrap up the video as well. Come join me in my home studio, and let's see the results of this damage. That's not the one. That's the one. Okay, welcome to my home movie theater. Let's go ahead and put the damage on screen for you. Actually, I took a screenshot partway through, so let me show you that. See, we did it. Okay, here is the picture of the turn limit indicator. We're at 113 million here. Who predicted over 100 million in the comments? You didn't. You did not. You didn't think it was going to be this much. Okay, and then let's flip to the next one. 131 million damage on hard. It was a 44-minute run. You're welcome for not showing that on screen. You can see that Gomlock, Uko, Islin, Tatora did all in the same range of damage. They're all in the 10 to 16 million damage area, okay? And then we have Mithrala at double that. And then we have Razzlevarg at double that, okay? So if we had Cecia in here, that would have probably been another 50 million based on just HP burn. That's the word I'm looking for. So just an incredible result here. And obviously, this team should be able to go on brutal depending on your gear. And then last thing we need to do in the video is show off the gear on some of these champions. We need to show off the Masteries specifically on Islin, but I'll try to show the gear and Masteries for all of the champions. So let's jump over and I will show you that as well. All right, so we have not on screen here. We have on screen here the 6 champions that we used in the team. Tatora doesn't need to be empowered, but feel free to tell me about it in the comments below. Tatora here, his total stats right here on screen. He has the Lightning Cage Blessing for some reason to help with the Mischief target. And then we have the Masteries with me being hidden there so you can see the War Master. This is a very interesting setup for Masteries that I quite like. It's pretty sweet. Next up, we have my Razzlevarg build, which is probably the best one. Not gonna lie. Like, he's fast in Savage, but I'll be honest, I got like the same results out of him when he was in Provoke. So you can basically put whatever gear sets on him you want. I don't think Savage really helped. I don't know why. I mean, I gotta be missing something. Why didn't Savage help that much? And that's on any difficulty, not just because I was on hard. Okay? But he has Phantom Touch here. I think that he's really great with Cruelty as well. You should really fit someone with Cruelty in your team. We don't have that in this team. So if I was to be optimizing this team, I would put Cruelty there. And then here are his Masteries, again with the War Master. I really, really love this type of Mastery setup over here, the support tree, with either Rapid Response or Arcane Celerity. Those should be on your champions, period, end of story. It's been like one of the biggest damage boosts that I've been able to find. Uko, still in Provoke, still love this build. If you can't get him this fast, then just do your best. You know, you might not be able to put the resistance on him. It's not going to be perfect, but it's definitely helpful. And then we have Phantom Touch on him as well. And then the Masteries is going to be, again, War Master. Basically, everyone in your team should have War Master, unless they're a crazy damage dealer, and then maybe they should have Helm Smasher. Maybe that's what I need to do on Razelvarg, okay? And actually, Uko's Masteries, I need to redo them to put in, not that one, this one, Arcane Celerity. I need to redo those. So I'm going to think about doing that. If I do that, I'll probably put Cycle of Magic as well. And then I think we need Sniper for his A1. Yeah, we need Sniper for the A1. So I would leave that Sniper Mastery there for him. Let's see his Masteries again. I think that would be interesting to test Helm Smasher on him. But if if the Savage didn't help that much, then why would the Helm Smasher? I don't know. People that run Razelvarg, tell me what you think. Here's my normal Mithrala build. It's a damage build. Highly recommend a damage build on Mithrala. HP and defense, I should probably switch that. She should definitely have a higher defense. All of her damage is based on defense, but I also want her to have HP. So this is just the build that I've been using for a very long time. But I'll be honest, I thought the HP and the defense were switched. She has Brimstone on her. I don't know how to feel about that. I haven't changed it for a while, but obviously it's been working out. And then here are her Masteries. I haven't changed these for a while either. So this is just what I've been using. I don't know that that's the best. I would probably go change those, but that's what I've been using. So I'm going to show you the realistic part. Gomlock here. Has the new Mastery setup, very similar War Master side on the offense. And then, let's see. Nothing else. He doesn't have any blessings or anything like that. He's just in generic gear. Like, I just threw some gear on him. I happen to have this unequipped, so I put that on him. But, like, he has damage stats on. Not crazy ones. And his damage is based on attack, but his attack's really low. So maybe if we worked harder to get his attack higher, I don't know, maybe if we improved his gear, I just don't think he's going to do a lot of damage no matter what you do. The Islin build, I was very happy with. I've been waiting the whole video to ascend this and see what it gets after the run. Flat defense, okay. Well, that's not going to help anything. But you can see, like, I don't have everything glyphed on here. I didn't go above and beyond. I used the sweet offset gloves, defense with defense. Obviously, in the offense set, not going to help out here. But I really liked this build. I really, really liked this build of him. I think I'm going to leave it on him and use it maybe in some other videos. I liked his Mastery tree here. Nothing crazy on the Mastery tree. Just like normal stuff. I really liked the Solidarity here. The Resistance Reach buff. That really stood out to me. I really liked the counterattack buffs. That really works out well because of the provoking. All of this worked really well together. Okay. He does put shields on himself. And he heals. So Rejuvenation was good. Like, nothing crazy on the Masteries, but they just worked really, really well together. So, what do you think about Strategos Islin? Are you going to go build him on your account? Do you think he's going to help you out? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me what I forgot, and I'll see you guys in the next video.